Hi, Core family. It's Kendra Cooke here in sunny Orlando, Florida today, and I have the privilege of interviewing my personal coach, my personal mentor for the last 15 years in a fireside chat at Miss Reeta Casey's house. So we are very excited to hang out with you guys for a few minutes, and our topic today, Reeta, is going to be surrender. In the Core, we talk a lot about that is the first step to being coachable, is you have to surrender to a higher authority, to a higher process, to systems, to structure in all areas of our life, right? And so in the Core, we talk about we're either drifting, we're driven, or we're directed. And we all like to stay in directed. Most people, when they come to the Core, probably are in drifting. Would you say the bulk of our groups are in?
Absolutely.
In drifting. So
Absolutely.
Not surrendered to an authority. Somebody is not kind of in charge of what's going on in their business or in a certain area of their life. Then we get in directed. We get so focused that we just want to succeed, and we, forfeit time with our family or forfeit financial stability just to be the best, right? The number one, the plaque on the wall or whatever it is. And that's when we're in driven. And where we really want to be is in directed. So I'm excited to talk to Reeta today because I feel like probably she was one of the very first people that I ever surrendered to and said, show me the way, I will follow you. And I've been following her for 15 years. I have to tell you, my life, my marriage is better, my money is better, my time management is better. Myself personally, I'm the fittest I've ever been. My business is amazing, very good structure around most areas of my life. So I want to start out by saying, give us a quick journey of how you found the Core and how long you've really been surrendered, because it's been a long process for you.
It absolutely has. I think probably one of the big defining points during my career is I was in restaurant management, and then I got into real estate, and it's like when I switched careers, I totally forgot everything I had learned as a manager of a restaurant and doing P&Ls and having the structure that the company gave me to follow. So that's all I did was I followed that structure and go into real estate, and then you're on your own. So you feel like, well, I have so much more freedom. And what happens is we waste a lot of time and we don't have any freedom. So as I went through my career, I had a big wake-up call in '95 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I had to really stop and think about, is this what I really want to do? When you actually can have a marker that says they haven't told you yet exactly what you have, it's like, well, how long do I have to live? I don't know. And was it worth it? And if I have longer, do I stay in this? And so Pat and I did a lot of talking and really heart searching on that. And I realized I do love real estate. And once I got my diagnosis and I knew I was okay, I said, I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it different. But I had no idea what different looked like, And so that was when I was really, I had a new purpose, but I was kind of drifting to try to find out where is this new direction. And as you and I know, God places people in your life, and enters Rick Ruby, and met him when we were at another coaching company together, and he had a new vision, and I was blessed that he asked me, to join him as a partner in this new vision. And I knew from the couple of years I'd known Rick, if I get into this, I am going to be highly accountable. My life is going to change, my freedom and whatever, but I also knew it would be better. So I was excited to join him as a partner on this journey. And I'll tell you, it was years of, it's one thing when our students say it, and when I said it, I'm willing to surrender and follow direction. But listen, as soon as we hit a bump, and as soon as we hit a place where it's like, well, I don't want to do that, or I don't think that's right, or it's not going to work in my market, we don't surrender.
Yes.
So our students think, I've surrendered, because they're out there drifting and they're in some pain and they're like, I need direction, but they're not really ready to accept that direction, because that means you got to trust the system, the leadership wholeheartedly. And when you absolutely don't want to do it or think you've got a better way, that's when you really find out if you surrendered. Now, first of all, I'm just thrilled and blessed that my best student is just here interviewing me, and you are doing such an amazing job running the real estate division. But when you and I were coaching, we had times when you had surrendered, but you hadn't, because I remember just some of the simple things when I said, Kendra, you need to mail your EOS. You need a geographic farm. You do it for about 9 or 10 months. You call me up and go, it ain't working. And I go, what do you mean? It's not working. And then I'd say, keep doing it. And you'd hang up and you'd keep doing it. So you were a great student. And then about 2 weeks later, you call me and go, well, I got a listing from that farm. And I'd be like, okay. So sometimes we need that proof back. You know that as many students as you coach. It's like when they finally listen and do the one thing that you've told them to do, they really don't want to surrender to. And then they have that victory. They're like, okay, they've surrendered a little bit more. But everybody needs to understand that surrender is a process. You might surrender 10% and then 40%. And then I think what happens is when the students start seeing the change and they really buy in and totally surrender and do not stop and have those little thoughts and questions like, oh, I don't know. They just do it and don't think about it. That's when we see them really explode.
That brings me to a good point. So when we get to a point in our career or in our life, and as you said, I'm a prime example of this, and I would wake up one morning and say, you know what? I've got it all figured out. Like, I've got the budget down. I'm hitting my P&L numbers. My geographic farm's working. I don't really need an authority, if you will, because the definition of the word surrender is to submit to an authority, right? So I don't need that authority anymore. I've got it all figured out. Now, you've been on this journey for over 20 years with Rick.
Absolutely.
So when you wake up in the morning and you're like, I've got it all figured out, I don't need any more authority, what makes you continue to surrender and just say, I don't? Because I know in my mind there was many times that I would just give up and I would quit, and somehow I would persevere, but I don't know if it was mindset. I don't know if it was I didn't want to disappoint you as my mentor and my coach, but for you, been doing it a lot longer than me, surrendering to an authority. What is that? What does that look like in the morning when you get up and you want to quit? What pushes you to continue to push through that?
Well, I think the longer you do it, and we talked about the little victories, when you see those happening, you realize, wait a minute, that might be my ego telling me, hey, it's okay. But then you know that you're on the right path and you have to stay in those boundaries, because those boundaries are what give you freedom in your life. So for me, I mean, for those of you watching in the core, and the fact that Rick's looked at our budget, my budget for 20 years, pause, you understand what I'm saying? But I know where he's taking me on this path, and I know every month I still do better. I'm actually don't want to think about no boundaries, don't want to think about all that, because that brings me probably more concern and not really fear, but just knowing I'm at my best. To be in this community, I stay at my best. You know, even in my 3-day-a-week job and what I do every year, every semester, you know, Rick challenges us and I keep tweaking even what I'm doing more and more, and I'm here to help you. And to me, to be a part of a community and part of something where everybody works at their highest and best, and that, I don't want to say there's competition, but there's just inspiration. I love that, and I know I function better there. So many times over the course of 20 years, I said, I'm done. I want to, you know, I've quit many times, people, in my mind, but when it comes to reality, I know I'm better. I know I'm better with my money, with my life, with the people I meet, just totally surrendering and having that leadership. So it's something that I think our egos, again, remember I said don't think, just do, because our egos can talk to us and want to pull us back into a comfort zone, and to stay out of it and keep growing is what really makes life great. It makes me better at everything I do.
She makes me a better person. This is why I'm interviewing her today. So in wrapping this up, she's talked about boundaries. We've talked about surrendering to an authority. We've talked about getting out of your own head. We've talked about pushing through even when you don't want to, when it's just easy to give up and quit. If you could share something with our Core Nation today, and whether they're already a part of Core Nation or they're interviewing us to come into whatever level of coaching, what would you tell somebody that's considering going under someone's authority, hiring a coach, whether it's our level 1 coaching student, a level 2 coaching student, or going all in at level 3? What would you tell them mentally to be prepared for, or, you know, how do they just take that leap? Because I know a lot of people are scared to invest in themselves, thinking I'll get in, I'll quit, as we all have mentally, as you said. But what would you tell our Core Nation about surrendering and continuing to surrender and be on this journey for a very, very, very long time?
So for all of you, my advice around surrender is that it's the biggest decision you'll make. It's the decision that you truly want. It's the decision that you commit to, and you really commit to the challenging times of it, because you will have a better life, a better business if you are under leadership. And what I love about the Core Nation are these are people that have walked through your shoes, whatever situations, we've had them all, and we stay very humble with that. But to surrender means you've really got to just stop the thinking as soon as it starts and just take that action. It will, if you want the, in a world today where we live, it's very easy to do very little, and people say surrender and it sounds really simple, but it's not. And when it gets hard, that's when you have to know that's the point where you really have to commit to the surrender. It's not during the easy times when the P&L's good and the production's great. It's the times when your coach or your leader is telling you you can do better, when they give you the stick, when they push you and they make you mad, because it's going to drive you. What's going to happen is so great on the other side. My advice to you is, looking back, I would not be sitting here in this fabulous setting, my dream home on the lake, with Kendra, my dear friends, going to events, working 3 days a week, having the dream job. You've got to think about the fact that life is going to be better on the other side. It's so worth the journey. To have 2 or 3 months to take off from my job, to take care of my mother, all the blessings that are received, you've got to work for it because it makes it worthwhile. So if you're looking for easy, or you're looking to just do it and commit when life is simple, you're in the wrong place. But I will tell you, it is worth everything. And so make that commitment and know when it gets hard, that's when it really gets good. And you make that decision and stick with it.
Well, thank you for being on my 15-year journey. I would not be the mother, the wife, the realtor, the coach, the small business owner, the director of sales, if it weren't for you. So I've learned so much from Reeta. I did a lot of things wrong. I did a few things right, but I did a lot of things wrong. So first, publicly, let me say thank you. So if you're watching this in Core Nation, or you're not already part of our group, and you're looking for a plan, you're looking for accountability, you're looking for some friendly competition, and you're looking for a community that will help you surrender and take you to places that you've not been yet, that you can only dream of, contact us at thecoretraining.com, or call us at 1-800-660-6670. We want to be your coach. For a free consultation to learn more about the Core Training, visit us on www.thecoretraining.com or call us at 1-800-660-6670. We look forward to speaking to you soon.